Well, good evening, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 7th of November, 2021. Hard to believe here, but 50 days until Christmas. I'm sure I just sent some of you into panic mode here. I was in a little bit of a panic mode here this past week, standing on top of our building here. It's a top secret why I was up here, about 150 feet up in the air. But again, we'll talk about that in the weeks ahead here. But again, live from One Bethlehem Plaza here. That's the building in downtown Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Looking at a last week summary here, 31 October through 6 November. So this big map is temperature trends versus last year, how our big customers would look at the weather. So here in the U.S., good, 6.9 degrees colder than last year, 15th coldest in 36 years, below average. So that's a strong retail sales week for seasonal items. You probably felt the chill in the air and the frost in the ground and whatnot. So certainly folks were out there buying their fall gear. 90% wetter than last year, wettest in 3 years. Still on the dry side, below average nationally. 50% less snowfall versus last year, least in 5, fifth least in 36 years. So not much on the snowfall front where most of us live. Looking up at Canada, a little bit warmer, warmest in 5 years. UK, a little bit cooler than last year. Europe also a little cooler. Russia, cooler. China, hotter, warmest in 10 years. Down under Australia, spring. A little bit cooler than last year. Coolest in 8 years in India. And Brazil, a little bit warmer. Maps inset left are the trends versus average. One thing that's some good news here is that flu, again, normally when you get really, really cold weather in September or October, like we had last year, you can have a quicker start to the flu season. Now, last year we had no flu, obviously to speak of, near historic lows. This year trending a little bit above last year, and it has gotten colder recently. So this suggests a late cold snap here has been November versus last year. In prior years, it looks like we'd have a more traditional peak of flu activity, which would be more toward late January, early February. If Australia is a bellwether for us, usually they had 2 back-to-back non-existent flu seasons in their winter season, so let's hope that's the case here. So let's, even though we're trending a little bit higher than last year, we'll see what happens here, but hopefully not as severe as we had back in 19, that green line. COVID is decreasing. Again, we're trending similar to last year in terms of this time last year in terms of number of cases. Let's hope that can continue rather than another big spike through the winter. Looking at this week, 7 through 13 November here in the U.S., moderating trend here. Still a little colder than last year, but still 9th warmest in 36 years. So much of the country here has gone above normal, a little bit of a flip-flop from last week. Still cool down in Florida and parts of the Northwest. 37% drier than last year, 15th wettest in 36 years, near average rainfall for the U.S. overall. While there is some snow this week, it's still 87% less snowfall, least in 5 years, 5th least in 36 years, and much below average on that front. If we look at the more detailed snowfall map here again, so this is the 6-day snowfall map here, again, a little bit more than last year, but again, well below average here. We are going to get a more moderate system through Fargo, Duluth, north of Minneapolis. They may get some accumulating snow, so certainly the first accumulating snow for the upper plains here this week, and again, heavy mountain snow well in the high elevations out there. Looking at next week here, hard to believe, mid-November and getting close to Thanksgiving, but sneaking up on us. 3.2 degrees colder than last year, 18th coldest in 36 years. That's kind of in the middle of the pack average, but cooler trend. So a little bit of up and down pattern here in the east. That sometimes can make us sick too, right? So hot to cold, hot, back to cold. Rainfall about 173% wetter than last year, wettest in 5 years, 10th wettest in 36 years. So above average rainfall. We'll see about all that heavy rain in the south central U.S. and again a little bit more snow in the upper plains as well. So it looks like Minnesota, you're going to get in on the snowy act here finally. 20% more snowfall than last year nationally, 9th least in 36 years. So still much below average on the snowfall front here for the U.S. overall. Looking at the world 2-week outlook here again, so just aggregating the next 2 weeks here. Again, general theme in the U.S. is generally above average temperatures. This map is temperature trends versus average. Warm across Canada. A little bit cold up there in Australia and Greenland. Europe a little bit cool. But otherwise, Australia looks like they're turning quite a bit colder as for their spring season here. But total precip and snow is the inset map left. With that, folks, we hope you have a great week. We will be back here again this time next week.